Consumer Goods Council of South Africa says protest action around the country is impacting business operations. It says manufacturers, shopping centers and service providers such as logistics companies have also been affected. The council is calling for government to urgently intervene in the matter. The CGSA's head of Crime Risk Initiative, Abram Nelson, joins us now. Good evening, Abram. Thanks very much.
Good evening. Thank you
for your time. Tell us, who are your members and what exactly does the council do?
Our members consist of all the major retailers in the country. We also include manufacturers as well as logistic companies. So here we speak to your Unilevers, your Nestle's, and then all your major supermarket groups like ShopRite, Pick n Pay, Checkers, Spar, Massmart. They're all part of our group.
And the job of the council is to?
We've got various functions. My function specifically speaks to crime-related issues affecting retailers. So we basically on a day-to-day basis deal with issues relating to crime, and we assist members to mitigate these issues. So we basically liaise on their behalf with law enforcement. We provide them with information products, indicating where hotspots are, what issues have occurred, where they should change their way of operating, and we also then develop standard operational procedures as well as best practices.
So you have been speaking to your members about how they can sort of cushion the blow, so to speak, protect themselves and their businesses, obviously. Now, who have you then engaged with to now take your members' concerns to?
Well, we've engaged with law enforcement to the highest level. We've actually got
what are we talking about here? The police?
The National Commission of the Police. We've actually got a signed MOU with the South African Police Services for us to work together and share resources and see how we as retailers can assist the South African Police Services to mitigate crime. Not only affecting us as a retail area, but as well as crime affecting the country in general.
What has been the response?
I must say the response is very good. We have a very good working relationship with the South African Police Services and more specifically the National Joint Operations Centre. We share information, we provide information, we act as additional eyes and ears for the police on the ground. Remember, retailers are located all over the country. So whenever retailers pick up on any possible crime, they report it via my office and we report it to the police so that they can proactively try and deal with the situation. So we have, unfortunately, SAPS has got limited resources and at times it's not possible for them to assist.
So what then is the solution? Because if you have these good relations with the South African Police Service, and you have the reality of communities that are impoverished, unemployed, you know, there are huge disparities in this country. So what we're seeing now is bound to happen probably for a very long time. As much as we may regret it happening, and none of us really wants it to happen. So given that reality and the concerns that your members have and what all of this does to their businesses and to our country, what is a solution?
Well, that is why you'll see in our brief we indicated that there needs to be political intervention. If you look at the current
By that you mean what exactly?
Well, I feel that government, not necessarily only the governing party, but all political parties should start engaging communities. Communities are unhappy. I mean, they're using bread and butter issues.
I don't know how politicians
to get the attention.
Those who believe they can blame it on somebody else,
will do
so
that.
They can then stand on rooftops and say, see, they don't know, they don't care about you. So they will do that.
And that is why the call is for all political parties to join hands and see how we can save this country. Because if we're going to continue in the vein that we are now, things are just going to get worse. It's hard to say. I mean, political parties obviously are oppositions to each other. But at some point, if we want to save the economy of this country, and I'd like to give a few examples of a retail store that was burnt down in Soweto. And the damage to the retail store was over 27 million. The sad part is 89 staff members now for the next 9 months will not be receiving a salary because they're still rebuilding. It's going to take from 9 to 12 months to rebuild that store. Then they will re-employ these people. Now, if you count how many families suffer as a result of that situation, I think it's important for politicians to start opening their eyes and start listening to the communities.
But then is it not also important to actually engage them actively instead of like calling on them, if you get what I mean?
Yes.
Get the respective political parties to actually commit to, whether it's going to those communities or whatever it is that they'll be committing to. But in other words, something that goes beyond simply saying politicians must do this.
Get involved,
No, stop this or stop that. Because I was talking to another politician a little earlier on, and I was saying, but you've got to go beyond simply saying, you know that so-and-so will do this.
Yes.
You know, you're calling on this one or the other one to stop this. I think we need to get to the culture now of committing people to certain things.
No, I agree with you, and I think business as a whole should start approaching the individual political parties. Whether we want to accept it or not, at the end of the day, it is needed. It is
and
needed.
Mind you, a lot of these political parties depend on business for their own funding and support.
Correct.
So how about linking the funding to good behavior?
Correct.
That is to the benefit of everybody.
I fully agree with you. And I say business, I speak on behalf of the retail industry, but I'm talking about business in general in the country should start, and we're talking about your BUSAs and those organizations, so start approaching these political parties individually without fear or favor. Doesn't matter which party it is. Because at the end of the day, all these parties are garnering votes. But they're not concerned about the actual communities that they're supposed to be serving.
That's what we're going to leave it for tonight. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much
for coming through. Consumer Goods Council of South Africa, head of Crime Risk Initiative, Abram Nelson.